Hello, Internet.
Dreams!
I was about to do the Markiplier. I'm sorry. Dreams, you said?
Dreams.
Whoa.
Before we get into what you're going to do, funny story.
Ooh.
Dream, the famous Minecraft YouTuber.
Yeah, Dr. Kraft.
Has attempted to delete his face off the internet.
Yeah, I saw that.
He deleted his face reveal and every picture on his Instagram and Twitter with his face in it.
He realized being man with face out there is bad, so he put the mask back on, and that's what the point of the mask is.
Yeah, literally because of that, as soon as he did his face reveal, just got so much hate and people were like, "Oh, I can't believe you're that fucking ugly."
Was he the one that did the thing where, he just sat in the same pose for the entire stream?
Yeah, he has the fucking crimson chin.
I remember the chin thing. I never watched it, so I didn't know he just sat in the same position, but that is very funny.
Yeah, he pretty much did. But yeah.
But dreams. I had one, and it was very weird. It was fucking strange. Because this is one of those ones that involved a dreamscape of a real place, which we have mentioned many times in our dream escapades. But this one was my old house. For background, I've lived in the same house most of my entire life, except for the first year or two of my life that I don't remember. I lived in a different house then. But that's context for later. The most important part, however, is how it starts. I was drinking, and I drank too much, and I had to fight off Seinfeld impersonators. They were a bunch of people that vaguely looked like the Seinfeld cast, and they were starting havoc, and they tried to steal the roof of a temple. And the guy who was impersonating Jerry had 2 swords, and I had to fight him off with a broken bottle. And then I woke up.
What's the deal with Kyle's house?
But then I woke up in a dream. So I'm sitting there is this reality or is this just fantasy? But I wake up, I question it, and now it's in that weird state, right, where it's oh, well, I just woke up from a dream, so this must be real. So this has to be real. And my brother is living with me again, and we have moved into my old house. And in reality, I don't remember anything about my house, that old house, but now I'm in it, and I apparently know everything about it. And I go into a side room, it's full of nerd shit, which is another staple of my dreams. Cool nerd shit that I wish was real. So there's statues of stuff, there's cool books.
You just see all those statues you see on the internet that you want, but they're $5,000.
Yeah. There were a lot of cool dice and neat miniatures, things like that, and it was really cool, and I really liked it. And I was sad when I woke up. But then I would continue to go back to sleep because the days would progress, and I would have dreams, and they were Who Framed Roger Rabbit-esque, where I would see these little cartoon things, little creatures and little poop monsters, and they would come into my vision and they'd swirl around, and they'd kind of merge together into weird symbols, kind of like the little Monster Hunter symbols you'd see to represent a monster.
Yeah.
They would swirl around like that, making symbols. And I couldn't understand exactly what they said, but I look at this one and I'm like, delicious scrimp.
Delicious scrimp.
Delicious scrimp.
Delicious scrimp.
And this would keep happening. And so I decided I'm going to go look up a YouTube tutorial. Because I got to figure out...
what the delicious scrimp is?
I got to figure out what they're saying, because I'm like, delicious scrimp. It can't be delicious scrimp. I look it up, and there's it's the standard monotone female voice explaining things, and she's the symbols come together to explain a different idea, merging together to make more complex ideas. Now, it forms one together and says, what does this one say? So I'm like, delicious scrimp. And then it just starts blinking red, and it says, sadly, this one is woven too tightly to be a delicious Skrimp. This is hostility. I'm like, oh no!
That's a big jump.
I thought it was delicious Skrimp, but it's actually angry aliens. And I continue communicating with them in this weird one-way fashion until I uncover the power to transcend the flesh. So
how wonderful!
Yeah. I go out to a gas station to ascend, because where else are you gonna do it? And I start ascending, and I'm standing out front of a gas station, with some guy, and as I start ascending, my legs grow 15 feet into the air. My body at like the waist level. My waist becomes like square, like SpongeBob, and the top half of my body collapses into it. So I've just got little arms sticking out the top. And then I'm like, I want to smoke one final J before I ascend the floor. So I call up my guy, which isn't you for some reason.
What? You have another guy, you son of a bitch.
I'm sorry you had to find out this way. But no, I call up my guy and he brings it to me. I reach down my funny nubby hands and just kind of stick it into my flesh mass. And I look to the side and I see my cat. And I think, fuck, he's gonna tell on me.
Stop laughing, it's not funny.
He's gonna tell my family that I smoke. Mid-flesh transcendence, by the way. I'm a horrid monster right now.
Your mom knows that we honk on that Jorf, though, in real life, doesn't she?
No.
She doesn't know we hit them darts?
Nope.
How does she, not smell it?
Actually, the funny thing is, she's commented before, like, why do you smell like smoke? But this was after hanging out with our other friends who smoke cigars.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, yeah, my friends have a weird thing. They like to smoke cigars. And she's like, isn't that a thing like old people do? I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
And she's like, wow, you got weird friends. I'm like, yeah, crazy, right?
So your mom doesn't know that we're real fucking reefer queefers?
No.
Reefer queefers,
At any time I come home and if she notices I'm acting fucking strange, my excuse is that we drank a lot.
Oh.
It's really funny.
So what did she think when, I was, during COVID, when I was, I would come over with my care packages for you of edibles? What did she think about those?
I had an excuse.
Oh.
I would say, because she knows, because, those veterans of the MD cast would know, we would come here and we'd have a few drinks. Eric would typically provide a bunch of alcohol. And what I said was, Eric, who would buy the big bottles of alcohol, would get the ones that have the little tiny thing of Fireball on them. And I said, oh, Eric doesn't like Fireball, so he gives them to me.
That's your fucking cover-up for the edibles?
That's how I did it.
Are you just, scared to tell your mom you smoke weed?
I mean, I don't really want to tell her I smoke in general. This is kind of the way it is. She wouldn't do anything. She wouldn't stop me because she can't. But it's one of those things where she'd be
one less thing to worry about, kind of thing.
Yeah, she'd be like, but what about cancer? I'm like, maybe. I don't know. I don't think
my son already drinks. Now you smoking? Throw the Bible at you.
Smoking that weed.
Honking them J's, bro.
Yeah, dude. But yeah, I just don't tell her because it's way easier not to.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of dreams, though, I haven't had any real dreams of note other than these fucking supercut nightmare weird ones where okay, if you smoke weed a lot, which I did for a really long time, and it was only last week that I didn't do any. When you're smoking weed a lot, you'll get dreams, but they'll be more clear, and it feels like not a lot happens. But you won't get as many dreams as most other people would, and if you do, you don't remember them. And if you stop smoking weed, that's when you get these super cut weird nightmares of oh, I gotta be to work on time, and then I'll jump face first into a puddle and start drinking it, and then I stand up. And it's just weird stuff like that. But yeah, I've cut down on the amount that I smoke so that I can be more productive. But like, instead of being more productive, I've just been standing in my backyard looking at the sky a lot more.
Waiting for the darkness to come.
Yeah.
For the fog to roll in.
The fog is coming.
Brother, the fog is coming.
We never talked about the most likely way that I would die on the show, right? Or the funniest way that I would.
I don't think we've talked about that at all.
I mean, we've talked about, like, grand funeral arrangements.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, just to paint the scene, where my smoke shack is, it's in my backyard, and I just have a shed. The shed is too jam-filled with, like, stuff to actually, like, bring a chair into, but I do have a lawnmower. It's not a ride-around lawnmower, it's just a lawnmower. So I sit on top of the engine, and, like, that's just where I have my setup. I have my ashtray on the ground, and I have my J's and stuff beside me, and I just smoke that. But, like, I would do that periodically throughout, like, the winter as well, in freezing temperatures, and I would bundle up, but it would still be chilly. And I thought, wouldn't it be funny if, like, I have a little bit too much more than usual, and I close the door. I close the door to do it, especially if there's a snowstorm, which I've been in before.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, it's so cold in here. Maybe I can just
rev this lawn.
yeah,
Turn on the lawnmower.
I'll just turn the lawnmower on, and it'll heat things up. But then I'll just carbon monoxide myself in there.
Yeah.
And
can't let the cold in. Better tape up the door.
And that's just the funniest visual to me. Like, 2 hours go by, and it's like, man, one of our neighbors is really going crazy with the snowblower out there. And then it's like, wait a minute.
You just open the door, and
it's like,
there's no oxygen. It's just carbon monoxide and fucking cannabis.
You get high and poisoned at the same time.
Hell yeah.
As soon as you open the door.
What a fucking way to go.
I feel like that'd be one of those things, like, if I was in Eric's shoes with my brain, I would think to do that. Like, man, it's fucking hot here. I know this thing heats some. I'll go to, like, grab the ripcord and be like, what the fuck am I doing?
This is a terrible idea. I don't like sheds.
not a fan.
Like,
it depends.
I know you, Eric, have a shed history.
I do have a history of
You've been in many
shed.
a shed. But my experience with sheds was always, like, the mysterious building at the back. Because I remember my grandparents had a shed chock full of stuff, because my grandfather was a handyman. He was a man who would do a lot of work like that. And I just remember, I always remember, I swear I've told it before, there was a window on that shed, and there was what I now believe is a cicada corpse, or like a husk. It would always sit in the window. I'm like, it's a big fucking bug. That place is infested with evil. But I went in there once, and it was just like this dingy, dark mess. I'm like, I don't like it in here. I mean, I haven't had any bad experience with your shed. Obviously, I've been in it, but it's also quite cramped, so it's not like I can really get into it very much.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
One day.
I'm just not a shed guy. It might come naturally to some people where it's like, oh, gotta be somewhere to whatever. The shed. There's a good shed out there. I'm like, I don't think of the shed. I don't think about it.
It all depends on the shed. The pure metal, like, flimsy ones scare me, though.
Like
The one that I have?
Yeah.
Is my house just a nightmare to you guys?
Only part of it.
Oh.
One day I'll upgrade to a garage. That's honestly that's only the kind of visions that I can really aspire to, is I get a shed, I get a garage, and then I can just sit there in a lawn chair with the door open.
Yeah.
And, like, just in my underwear, with a bong in my hands, just cranking the property value down everywhere around me. Because there's just this guy there that just has a bong. He just sits in his garage and just smokes. It's just all he does when he's off.
You know, it is very amusing to think about because I believe your house is smaller than mine, or at the very least comparable size. But it is really amusing to me how it's just got this segregation between upstairs and downstairs. 'Cause I think of my house, and I think of like this interconnected thing. We have like a single basement that we just use
I
for a
don't
lot
like
of storage.
houses like yours.
You don't like my house?
I don't like that. I don't. Okay, yours is somewhat different compared to the other houses.
Mm-hmm.
But one house I absolutely hate is when you're at the front door, and it's a clear divide. Of like, okay, you're in this middle section. You can go up these stairs to actually the living room, kitchen, and everything, or you can go down these stairs to the basement.
Oh, like our other friend's house.
Yes, like his house.
I kind of like those houses.
I don't, but like even with yours is somewhat better, cause like it's not like it's straight at the door. It's more at like the middle of the house, like you go up these stairs is all your rooms.
That's why I always have trouble explaining things. I was talking to another friend of ours once, and we were talking about various things that included the layout of my house, and I find it hard to explain it because I'm like, well, you come in at the one level where the kitchen is, you go upstairs. And he's like, okay, so you got a 2-story house. I'm like, well, there's downstairs, too. He's like, okay, you got a basement. Well, no, there's a basement below that. And he's like, do you live in a fucking mansion? I'm like, it's not that big. It's slightly offset.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, like, you have a patio going upwards, so, like, your base level is already, like,
yeah,
higher.
Slightly elevated.
So when you go downstairs, you're only going down, like, a little bit, and
when
then you have your
basement. It goes, like, half underground.
Yeah.
It reaches this kind of, a little higher than this basement kind of level. And then we've got, like, a bigger basement. Mm-hmm. And I find it hard to explain. But yeah, with this place, especially because you have a door up there that kind of separates the access to the basement from the actual upstairs, it really just does feel like this complete divide that I just don't have in my house. Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
Your house is like really open.
Yeah, it is very open. If you're standing at the door in my house, you can see both to the other end of the house upstairs and the other end of the house downstairs.
Because like typically houses do have like a divide to the basement, but like you have your basement, but you just have this little nook. Like I would say, like, when you walk through your door and you look straight right, that's your living room.
Yeah.
I have no idea what that fucking room is. That's like a theater room right there.
Oh, I've had it. My family has referred to it before as the family room, which I think is a very dumb name. I know my grandparents had a. Not really a similar setup. Their house was completely different, but they would have probably called it the den.
I can see the den. I can see it being called the den.
My grandma's house. Yeah. Her house is super, super open because go up to the patio, open the door, you have your living room completely open to the kitchen, or to the dining room, and then bathroom, 2 rooms beside it.
Yeah.
Then you're in the kitchen. Then if you don't go in those rooms, you go forward. Then you're in the kitchen and the dining room. And that's like that whole section open. No wall separating them. And then you can go downstairs and their entire basement open all the way to the back too. Mm-hmm. Like just going to the front of the house.
I've always loved open concept houses.
Is your grandparents' house like a century house, like a really old one?
Kind of.
Because it does remind me of my grandparents' house, because it's like, it's kind of what you'd expect when you walk in the front door, where it's got a staircase upwards to the right, and then to the left you can see just like the living room, which just connects directly, completely openly to the dining room. Beyond that, there is a wall, but you can go directly into the kitchen. And then it kind of like, rectangular loops around to the side to go back upstairs. You can get upstairs from the front or back. And then it just goes up to the top floor, which is, again, just a series of rooms in a line.
Yeah.
Things like that.
What's your attic like?
My attic?
Pause it. Pause it.
Apologies. Attic. So this is one of the interesting things about, I say interesting, it's an attic.
Attics are cool. I like attics.
I think they are. when they're finished. Mine isn't.
Yeah,
mine is basically just you can access it through like a place outside of my room as well as like the upstairs, or you can access it from the garage. But it's just a hatch in the ceiling, and what's actually up there is just unblocked insulation and shit. And I believe I probably mentioned it before when I mentioned that we had like a raccoon up in our attic. And so there was like one time when I actually looked up there. It was the only time in my life I've ever looked up there, and you could just see like all of the pink insulation just all around, and you could see the tunnels that had dug out to walk through it. He lived up there better than I did. So, but I do like attics. What I always think is really cool is like you see it in horror movies, which I feel
the attics that have the stairs up.
Yeah, you get like the thin staircase that goes up, and then you got the attic, and you put like some kid's room up there. That's awesome. That's a cool design. I'd love to live in an attic.
Because my attic that I have in this house is very similar to yours, but my grandma's attic, they have the stair walk
room.
up. Yeah, it's a very open, just like the rest of their fucking house. It's a very open room that they have boards and everything that they walk around on, and it's like they have a bunch of storage up there, and it has a window too. And I was like, wow.
Is it the little circle window?
Yeah, it's a little circle window.
Awesome. I've always just wanted to stand in the attic and just stare out that window and hope people see me.
It really is just a specific vibe in a place like that. I like that vibe. Like that, and when you've got like an open cabin kind of thing where it's kind of small, but you have like the ladder or whatever that goes up to the little like attic balcony thing where you can see out the window outside.
The little alcove.
Yeah, but you can also like look out down to the rest of the house or cabin in this case. I think that's cool design. I was watching a show recently. I was watching Resident Alien. Good show, but the main character has this house out in the country, small house and all that, but he's just got like a little ladder up to his roof where there is just this alcove sitting above all the other rooms, and that's where someone could sleep up there, and someone does at one point, and it's like, that's cool design. I like that.
I wish that I had a study that I could just shit post from in an attic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the vibe that I get from attics. But you were saying?
You know what's one thing I've loved about like big houses?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you got your house, you got your living room, your dining room, your kitchen, all that. Like the top of the house is just a normal house, but the basement is like a separate apartment.
Yeah.
Like it's just its own home entirely. Like it has its own bathroom, living room, dining room, kitchen.
My mom got a place, and it's not like a massive place or anything, but it's pretty decent in size and all that. And you go downstairs, and I expected it to be like one room down there, but no, you go down there. You've got the big room. You got the side room over there. You've got I think there's a bathroom down there. I'm like, you could live in this bitch.
Yeah, I've always loved houses like that.
I'm not gonna say his name, but the guy that would always be around family parties, Indian guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
We did shots with him.
Yes, the absolute man.
Yeah. What he did with his house was he renovated it so that his basement would be kind of like its own kind of apartment thing, and I did all the wiring for that.
Mm-hmm. A finished basement.
Yeah, and it's got its own little kitchenette and everything, and I think it's just one bedroom, but it has like a full-size living room and everything. It's very nice. It's got those sliding doors, not the open.
Really?
Oh, I love those doors. I want one.
Is it like a sliding door that actually closes in the door frame, or is it like a barn door where it's like on a rail?
It's on a rail kind of thing.
I'm not as big on barn doors, but sliding doors in general, pretty cool.
I've always liked sliding doors until they get stuck. Because the second they get stuck, I turn to the fucking Hulk and I'm ready to break it down. Like, it pisses me off.
I sympathize, but as a person who has really shitty doors in their home, it's like the sliding door gets stuck, yeah, that's a problem, but also a normal door, the problem I always have is they no longer close unless you do some weird knob wizardry. Like, I have at least I have one door in my home that doesn't stay closed unless you lock it. I have one that doesn't stay closed unless you grab the knob, push it inward, and pull up until you hear a click.
What the fuck's going on with your door?
That reminds me of
bad door frames.
My other DM's his apartment. His door is completely fucked because like he's got a big collie for a dog.
Mm-hmm.
And what he would do is, I think now he has like a larger cage that he puts him in when he goes to work. But for a while, he would just put him in the bathroom with like all his food and everything.
Big mistake.
And then
I've made that mistake before.
Felix, good boy, but he just destroyed his way out of the door.
Yo.
So it's just been cobbled back together with garbage bags, and now it doesn't like fully close all the way at the top. And he said, oh yeah, if you want to close it, you have to like really pull, wrench upwards, and then lock it, or else Felix is going to come in and you're going to have company. And, last session, somebody had to go, and they go hear the door close, and then Felix gets up, pitter patter, goes over to the door, slams it open, and then just silence. And then Felix comes back, and then the guy comes out and says, all he did was like he just came over, he just slammed the door open, and then he just left. He didn't even really look at me.
He wanted to show you who owns that room.
Yeah, he doesn't like closed doors.
My mom's dogs would do that on occasion because, fun fact, the wizardry tactic door, bathroom door.
It's always the bathroom.
It's always the bathroom door. And my mom's dogs, when they stopped training purebred German Shepherds, great loss by the way, but a lot of them would be mixed with lab, so they're very personable, and they'd follow you around, and it'd be really funny.
I don't like that door.
If you didn't close the door properly, you would. It wasn't uncommon for the dog to you hear boof. You hear, what the fuck?
It's just because one thing I've always hated about doors is the way they're made. All a door is just
just a block of wood.
Not even. Most doors, like, I'm not sure how old this door, but most doors nowadays is just two pieces of thin plywood with straight up, I think, cardboard in between, to actually, like, give it, like, so it doesn't, like, bend in on itself.
Yeah.
So, like, they have, like, a design.
I mean,
it's so easy to break.
I know that door feels light.
It is.
Obviously, I never try to break doors. But, like, I know that one definitely does feel light. Some of the doors in my house seem pretty light, but some of them are also seem a little more sturdy. My front door's metal, so that one's better. I know my brother builds doors. It'd be interesting to talk to him about that, but I don't really talk to him that often. Although it's funny when he comes by sometimes and he looks at our doors, he's like, your doors are awful.
Yeah, tell him to fucking fix them.
He's offered. He's like, you could just pay me a little less than you would have to pay someone else, and I can fix your doors for you.
$10, take it or leave it. Give me that fucking family discount.
We get him to do things we don't like. We've gotten him to cut our lawn before.
But yet, dogs are interesting creatures, especially like fucking bigger dogs. If there's a door in the way, they'll find a way.
They're good fellas. Fucking my mom's current dog, he's got a strange little habit. Every dog's got a quirk.
Yeah.
Every dog got something weird they do. This dog, he goes behind me and then walks between my legs and then stands there.
Yeah, because some dogs are commanded to do that.
Like, it makes sense, but at the same time...
You're not the owner.
Yeah, I'm not the owner, and I'm like, this makes it very hard to stand here.
Yeah, because this giant dog is...
He's black lab. He is mostly black lab, so he's tall enough. And I'm kind of sitting there like, I'm half lifting a leg, and I'm like petting him like, I appreciate you. You're a diamond in the rough. Please don't stand under me.
Ride like a horse.
It reminds me of what the other DM's dog does, where it's just an L couch that we all sit on, And
Ooh,
Felix
L couch.
will... Yeah, L coaches are great.
They are awesome.
I have an L couch, by the way.
Oh,
Wonderful.
yes. It is a very nice couch, except for the part that's broken.
That it's dying.
Yes.
It's very old.
Or,
Yeah.
the fact that, like, his L couch has the built-in bed, so the one seat beside the fucking bed is just wood.
it's just a plank.
wood.
Yep.
That's where I sit.
Tyler's got enough cushion to survive.
No, I don't.
But what Felix will do is he'll come up and you'll be sitting down, and then he'll put his paws right on your knees, and then he'll just get his nose right up to your face, and he won't lick you. He'll just stare at you.
Oh, that's adorable. I love that.
I like it too. It's just
My brother's dog. My brother's dog is not insignificant portions husky. Like you can look at it and tell, and so it's a very social animal. And he gets excited, and what he does is he will walk up to you, and he's not like full grown yet. He's big enough, but he's not like full dog.
Yeah.
But he will walk up to you, and he will hop onto his back legs, and he will like
Try to hug you.
Yeah, he'll try to hug you. And like I'm kind of sitting here like, oh, what you doing? And I kind of instinctively just grab his arms. And we just kind of look at each other, and my brother's like, hey, get down. And I'm sitting here like, are we dancing now?
Do the
That's what we're
tango.
doing?
that's what I always do too. Anytime a dog does that, I'm like, should I grab the? What do you want? What do you want from me?
And that's the thing. Because I'm now holding his arms, and I'm like, I understand he's not supposed to do this, so I kind of lean down a bit,
Try to push him back.
Try to move him back, angle his legs back down, let him go, and then he steps forward again. I'm like, you're making this difficult for me.
Honestly, if a dog ever does that to me, I'm just picking it up like a baby. Just fucking under the shoulders, and just hold it.
Yeah, and it's amusing. In the past, I've had kind of the experience where animals just kind of like me.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's universal.
Example, just make it all clear.
Rat
the
dog.
demon in the distance, but other animals have liked me before. I've had random cats that seem to like me, and dogs that I've never met before will like me. I know my mom's dog quite likes me, and I like him. He's a good boy. My brother's dog apparently likes me because he would just constantly, he'd come up to my room, and I've explained my room layout before, but as I'm sitting there at my desk, my door is just directly off to my left, and so I'd hear the sound, do 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 do, and then a second later, he would come into my room, stand in the doorway, and look at me, so I'd just pan over, I'd look at him and be like, hey, how you doing? He'd sit there, he'd look at me, and then there was a 50-50 chance he would either leave to come back later, or he'd just kind of walk up and sit down. I'm like, hey, you can sit wherever you want.
Aw, I love that. Especially when you can fucking hear him coming.
Well, yeah, with our stairs, you can hear anyone walking up them, so.
I love all of God's creatures, no matter how vicious.
Or annoying.
Yeah.
We are aware of this fact, this grand vice. But no, and there are a lot of nice animals.
You know what's something I always want to do?
What do you want to do?
You know, like when a baby hippo? My goal one day is just to pick one up and hold it like a baby. Just walk around with just this baby hippo in my hands, just, little pets.
Maybe hippos are funny little creatures.
You ever hear about that story of, like, the guy that he hung out with an alligator for a while, and, like, eventually it passed away and he was very sad, and then they always pair it with this other story of a guy that, like, hung out with a baby hippo until it got older, and he was like showing people how he could ride around on it and everything, and then one day it just dragged him into the water and killed him for no reason.
Yeah. Hippos are assholes, but like they're such good creatures though.
Well, that's the thing that's fucked up about animals, because like there are animals that are really intelligent, there are animals that are not very intelligent. you can't tell the difference a lot of the time. You just gotta take it on face value or faith when someone tells you. But then you hear about an alligator or, crocodilians, things like that. They're like, they're fairly intelligent and they don't like you. It may look like it likes you, it may tolerate you, and it may, to an extent, see you as, a provider and all that. But at the same time, it will eat you if the option and incentive is around for it, you know?
Yeah, you fall asleep in the cage.
Yeah. It's like,
Same thing as pigs.
Yeah. It's like an alligator will sit on... a young, small alligator will sit on your chest like a sleeping dog, and you can hang out with it, and you can do whatever. But if you appear to be dead to it, it'll be like, well, that's meat. That's a meal. And it's kind of fucked up. But one thing I've always liked is elephant intelligence, because you see baby elephants running around because they're still fucking massive.
Yeah.
But you see baby elephants running around. You can just see the child joy in them as they run around.
Like, you can actually see them age, which is beautiful.
Yeah, and it's like watching an elephant, especially if you've got young elephants and older elephants, watching them just kind of do their thing. They genuinely do feel like people.
Yeah.
In the way they act, and it's great because they are, again, very intelligent animals. They've got a really good memory. They never forget things. So if you, raise a young elephant, it will remember you.
Yeah.
And it will show affection even as an adult. And that's fucking insane.
That just reminds me of the funny story of, this lady had elephants in her backyard. And she would, do mean stuff to them.
Ugh.
And so, when the lady finally died, and, this is, in, the middle of Mexico, so, everything is fucking, far away. You just get a random church in the middle of the wild.
Yeah.
Maybe not Mexico, but whatever. Whatever third
probably
world country.
Africa.
Yeah, if it's elephants, then it's probably Africa.
Africa, sorry.
Unless they're imported.
Those Mexican elephants.
Cartel elephants. Cartel elephants.
I just fucking thought of Mexico. That's typically how it is. But, they raided the fucking funeral. They came in as the casket's coming out and fucking destroyed that shit.
And that's the thing about elephants. What the fuck are you gonna do?
You can't do anything.
I watched a documentary called The Ivory Trade.
Mm-hmm.
And that one was about...
Ivory is elephant bones.
Yeah.
Tusks.
That one was about
True.
kind of people combating, the ivory trade of, people going and hunting and killing elephants for their tusks and everything. Mm-hmm. And it's still a problem, but it's improved. But there was this one part in it where it was just a village of people that in Africa, where the elephants, they were coming and they were taking fruit off the trees, but it was the fruit that the people there planted to feed their families and everything.
Actively stealing crops.
Yeah, and it was just a whole tribe of these people, and they had machetes and everything, and spears, and they were like, we're going to kill the elephant, and then they had the people that were protecting the elephants, and they were saying we might have to start firing upon them, and then they're like, no, we can't do that, and they're kind of saying if you don't get rid of these elephants, then I'm going to kill them because those are my... They don't even want them. They don't want them for the ivory. They just want to kill them because they're eating their crops, which is completely understandable. But it's how is this still an issue? Because there's these people that are there protecting the elephants, and then they're like, well, now we have to go and preach our problem to all of the other higher powers to see if we can get a fence made to stop the elephants from eating the fruit.
And I mean, it's you can't just put up a picket.
They're elephants, and. Another really cool part in that series was, I can't remember where he was from, but they had the investigator that was head of finding these people that would kill the elephants, and he had a really cool quote where he was like, I do not celebrate any time I find somebody with the intention to kill an elephant. I celebrate when I find somebody with the intention to kill an elephant that has a gun.
That was a pretty hard line.
And it was really cool because in one part he found a guy that already... had killed some elephants that had a gun and everything, and he arrested him, and for because they do publicly shame these people. It's not like a thing that everybody goes and does in these countries. It's still frowned upon.
This is very much a movement.
Yes, and still very illegal and everything. And they said, here, for some publicity, let's get a good shot of the guy for the paper and the news. And he's like, here, put these on, and he hands them the tusks that he got, and he makes them put it on his shoulder and wear them, and then they take the picture of him when he's looking all sad after he got caught.
Fucking...
I really do love those sweet stories of like, oh, this old couple decide to raise a baby chimp, but like once they get older, you gotta release them back into the wild. Mm-hmm. So like 10 years down the road, they'll go back and try to find the monkey, and you just see the monkey go, and just as it's recognized as old owners, and it just fucking runs up and just.
Chimp stories are a mixed bag.
Yeah, they're always kind of 50-50 for me. I'm like, yeah, they're nice, they're fun. He's a funny monkey, but they could also rip your face off.
Yeah, the famous example where that exact thing happened. A woman had a pet chimp, and apparently it was like a perfectly fine relationship.
But she cut her hair. God forbid she cut her hair.
She cut her hair. I guess Chimp didn't recognize her anymore, or got scared or some shit. There is just a phone call where she's saying like, oh, I've got my pet chimp, he's angry, I don't know what to do, and you just hear monkey screaming and her screaming, and when they got there, it had ripped her face off.
I think all of her fingers too.
Yeah, like chimps, they're funny little guys with their wiggly little arms. They have the strength of like 3 men, and they will use it. It is insane. And like there was also the one case. It was a scientific experiment where a family, or rather a young couple, they were living with a chimp because they were studying a chimp's intelligence and adapting to its environment. And so they're like, what would a chimp be like if it lived in a human environment? And so, you know what? It became very human-like. It started drinking and smoking and reading porno mags.
Hell yeah.
Awesome. I could hang out with one like that.
It became the kind of thing where it also realized that it was tougher than them, because they'd try to like discipline it and be like, hey, don't do that, and it would get angry. And then eventually what they had to do, they had to basically be like, all right, we have to release this chimp. We have to like rehab it, send it back to the wild, because this experiment is getting out of hand. And it actually has a decent story. They did that, and they released it into this rehab program to habituate it in the wild.
How did they start it, though? Did they have it where, like, he came home from work or a bender, and they had all, like, his family and his friends around in a circle?
An intervention. This is an intervention.
No, but, please, we love you.
But no, they had sent it out to the thing, and they had to leave the chimp there. They couldn't stay with it.
Yeah.
But they went to visit it later, and it recognizes them, and this is like a year or maybe more later, and the chimp is like, naked chimp. It wore clothes when it was at the home.
What clothes did he wear?
Basic ones, t-shirt, jeans. But the chimp recognizes them. It goes up to them, and reportedly, I'm pretty sure it like recognized them, but seemed perfectly fine being in the wild and returned to its monkeys.
Yeah.
So that was nice.
He did ask for a cigarette, though.
Mama Sig. Mama Sig.
Mama Sig.
But there's another interesting story. Have you ever heard the story of the woman who made a magpie playground?
No.
Do you know what a magpie is?
I feel like I've searched it up a million times, but I just never remember what it is.
A little bird.
Yeah, a magpie is a bird. They're in the same family as crows.
Okay.
Which, for all those at home, crows are extremely intelligent birds.
I love crows.
Magpies are a little different. You know them because they're a little like pudgier and they have a white bit on their front.
Yeah.
But they are also as intelligent as crows. So they're really smart. And this woman, she notices in her backyard, like, these magpies, they come and they land and they start, doing their little thing. They start hopping around in her yard, all that, doing things. She's like, I wonder what magpies like to do. So she gets little, like, pet toys. She throws them out there, and they come and start playing with them. And then more magpies show up, and she just creates her backyard as this magpie playground. And she's like, oh yeah, I'll put my laundry out there and hang it on, like, the laundry lines, and I'll see them hanging upside down from it and swinging around. they'll like chase each other around, and they'll like roll balls at each other and stuff, and it's fun. I'm like,
Bro,
that's cute.
Imagine just seeing one of the magpies just like hang off your fucking panty.
That reminds me, I need to get a new cell phone.
Oh, that's what reminded you.
Yeah. Well, okay, for context, my phone is probably about 5 years old now.
Like,
and
you have a Huawei one.
Oh, yeah, I got one of those Chinese fucking spyware phones.
Man won't go on TikTok, but he has the Chinese phone.
I didn't know it was a spy phone at the time, and I didn't feel like buying another phone because
Yeah.
I'll admit, it's
that
a good cell phone.
wasn't revealed till later.
It's a good cell phone.
Yeah, from what I hear.
The problem with it is, like, the charging port. I have to, since I have so many convenient COVID masks lying around from the past plague, I have to string a mask to the top of it to wrap around the cord to hold it in place to charge it. And then I have to sit it on top of a tissue box and another higher elevated box to rest the cord part on so that it charges. If I don't do that, it doesn't charge.
I've always loved, like, when your phone or your cord's at the end of its life, so you have to figure out a weird way for it to charge.
It has been like that for 2 years.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, no, honestly, I would have that problem. I had a lot back when I had a cat, because he loved chewing cords.
Yeah.
And of course, all of the outlets are at a low level. Even if I'm trying to be clever and keep the cord as high as I can, he can still reach that shit.
Oh, for sure.
So I had a number of chewed cords and had to find the perfect way to bend them around to to have things charged. With my one phone cord, my old one, I could, to its credit, it lasted for such a long time, but I realized that I could only have it charge if the phone was upside down. Because how the charger would sit in the little port, the cord would rest in a certain way that it would work. But if I flipped it the other way, it would bend the other way, and then it wouldn't work.
Yeah. What phone would you get? Have you ever actually thought about it?
I would like a Galaxy. I don't want a I want a smartphone. I don't want an
iPhone.
I don't want an iPhone or any of the Apple products because I'm very good with my technology. I don't have things break in an unnatural way. If they break, it's always because of erosion, which is currently happening now. But I trust Galaxy because they say, oh, you can do all this crazy things with Apple, but it's just so much more expensive.
Well, nothing you can do with Apple is crazy. It's more user-friendly.
Yeah.
But the thing is,
if you can figure out your other phone, like the other options, then they're just as useful.
The other thing is, right, they do such highly specific things. Like, I do not understand Apple IDs. And I get that I'm coming at this from a certain viewpoint because I work in a development field where where the idea of having one Apple ID, it just will not fly. But it's like, with iPhones, everything is linked to this ID. You make this ID, everything's linked to it, and that's great for your average user that has one ID that they basically can connect to everything. Your iTunes, your App Store, your phone, your tablet, your whatever the fuck. You can attach it to everything. But then you try to do anything else, like, one problem comes up with your ID, and everything, even your apps, are linked to it. And I really don't like it.
I don't like that either. I like having this device is for this thing. I don't want my computer attached to my phone. I don't want my phone attached to my watch. I don't want my house attached to my Alexa. I don't have an Alexa. I don't want an Alexa.
And that's the big way I see it is like, I can understand the convenience. I don't clown on people for their convenience because I understand it wholeheartedly. I really don't need it.
How much more convenient is it really, though?
Well, I'll say this. As someone, like, I've seen people with, like, different phones. Like, I've had to go on an iPhone 1 or 2 times.
Yeah.
People say convenient or better for users. It's not.
Well, I'll put it like this. It's convenient in the way that when there are certain steps that you're not sure how to go about doing, such as transferring stuff or switching between stuff, it is designed such that it eliminates the part where you think about it.
I guess, yeah, but, like, even when I got this phone, like, compared to my other one, it was as simple as, download this app and everything from that old phone transfer to this one. Yeah. And it's not like, Apple is being innovative. No, everything you can do on Apple
hasn't innovated for years.
Everything you can do on Apple, you do on any other phone out there.
Yeah, and that's the thing. When I got my new phone, I was sitting there like, oh man, I wonder how I'm going to get my data over. Which, I don't think about it often, but, it is a thing I do have to think about. And then I turn on the new phone, and it's like, all right, would you like to transfer all your stuff? I'm like, yes.
Like the phone literally senses the other one's like, okay, I'm just steal that data.
Slurp up that data.
One thing that I was thinking about that Apple offers where it's like, oh, you can do this new, like, facial unlocking feature. And I'm like, I don't trust that. But my two coworkers that I work with, they are of Vietnamese descent. One brother, one sister. And like the brother was like, "Hey, can you pass me my phone?
For me, please?
Can you pass me my phone?" And then she accidentally turns the screen on and she looks at it and it unlocks the phone for her.
That's one thing I've heard about when it comes to the face recognition thing is it is not for people of color.
I mean, and it might be different if it were developed in a country where they were the predominant people, because it probably is supposed to notice very specific details to the facial structure of the predominant race, which they probably doesn't account for more Asian looks. So because the thing is, people are, oh, technology racist. It's not racist. It's just really stupid, okay? If you don't tell it exactly what to do, exactly what to look for, it will not look for it. So you say, here's a feature on white people that can be very different between each person. And so it looks for it. And that's all it looks for. But if that's not as pronounced a feature on an Asian person, it's not gonna look for it. It's not gonna notice it, and it's just going to autocorrect things and be like, it's all the same.
Seems similar enough. Thumbs up unlocks.
Which is bad for a phone.
A multitude of reasons.
Yeah, it is not good, but
I've never liked the idea of like either face recognition or like it just needs your fingerprint.
I don't like that either.
Yeah, I would. What is so wrong? Like with if you need a password, just have a number one. Like, just do the number one or a word, something like that.
As someone who would hack into Tyler's phone during high school, I completely understand the risk of it. You don't remember that?
No!
Remember how often you needed to change your password? Because I would watch you input it, and then I would take your phone when you put it down. Because Tyler would do a lot of, he would do the pattern ones.
Yeah.
And the big problem with these things is you can technically watch someone input it, unless they're conscious of you there and, like, block your view. So what I would do is I would sit beside Tyler, and he would idly check his phone, so he'd pick it up, he'd hold it up, and then he'd input his password, and I would watch it. I'd see it a few times, and then when he put it back down, if he stood up or something, or if he just wasn't looking, I'd grab his phone, and I'd be like, let's give it a shot, and I'd unlock it, and he would look at me like, what the fuck how'd you get in? I'm like, I'm a hacker, I don't know what to tell you. And then he'd change it, and we'd go about it again next week.
This is what I get for trusting my friend.
I mean,
they hacked my phone.
Give me credit where it's due. I'll open your phone to prove I can, but I never once did anything with it. I literally just close it again after showing you that it's open.
I know.
Like, I get paranoid about that at sometimes. I'm
Do you know my current one?
No.
Okay,
I don't know your current one. Like, you had to wonder, huh?
Yeah, now I'm thinking about it, because, like, I'll go casually do it and stuff.
I mean, I have seen you input it, but I haven't devoted it to any kind of memory.
Because I'll be honest, I watch you when you put in your password.
Oh, yeah. And I mean...
I don't have a password.
I don't know it. Maybe.
Well, you might know. I know another one of our friends knows it. But it's also one of the cases, like... Again, as I said, in high school, you would put your phone down, then I'd swipe it. I don't do that. If I'm not using my phone, I either have it right beside me or in my pocket. Yeah. Because I don't want people getting access to my phone. Is there anything incriminating on there? I don't think so. Excuse me?
What? Don't worry about it.
This is the most unguarded I've ever been with my phone around just about a lot of people, because my phone's over there charging.
Oh yeah, it's closer to us than it is to him.
Yeah, I always have my phone in my pocket, and I'm always very guarded with it because I don't have anything illegal. I just have a lot of porn.
Yeah. And it's like, to be fair, I don't really think you people would open my phone and do some whack shit, so no. I'm not really concerned about it, but I really don't leave my phone around other people. You want my phone? Yeah. Think you can get into it?
But, how do you turn this fucking thing on?
The first hurdle of a phone.
It's like a new shower.
I pressed the wrong one. Oh, that's a cool background.
Yeah, it changes. If you turn off the screen, turn it back on.
Oh, I recently, I think I was going to send it to Eric, but I was like, I'm not going to send it to Eric, because he's probably going to say something perverted. But I watched a video of a snake yawning.
They unhinge their jaw.
And I was like, man, this is scary, but at the same time, I was like, oh, it's just
I mean, snake. I prefer how snakes yawn to how
rabbits.
No, the bird. Not seagulls, but the other seabird.
Oh, heron? Not herons.
Seagulls. No, not seagull.
No, not seagull. The big one. Big bill.
I know exactly what one you're talking about.
I think it's a seagull. No, it's not a seagull.
That's not a seagull.
No, it's...
But anyway, gulpers.
the big seabirds with a massive beak that they, like, scoop up fish in. When they yawn, you can see their spine stick out their throat.
Yeah.
It's awful. But,
yeah. Pelican.
That's what it is.
Yeah, those rat
like
bastards.
Big Bill or something like that.
I mean, honestly, with some bird names, that feels like pretty genuine.
I petted a pelican.
Let's see.
I petted a pelican in Cuba.
Was I close?
Vaguely, yeah.
Vaguely. I don't want to do it.
I have a fun topic.
Oh boy!
So, it is currently June, meaning that it is Pride Month. Gentlemen.
No, it's Men's Mental Health Month.
No, it's not.
It's Indigenous Awareness Month.
It's Transformer Month.
But
it's Autobot Month.
Tyler, as our member of the LGBTQ being you,
our representative. One dick, man.
I was wondering, with your insider view, which one of us, being me and Kyle, is more of an ally to your movement?
Kyle.
Why?
Have you seen his bro and mom?
I am surrounded by the LGBTQ.
I see.
I think that kind of solidifies.
I've got the connection.
I've listened to him speak, but due to always being constantly surrounded by it, I figured that might solidify him more.
Makes sense.
I see. Okay, now, just out of curiosity, based on what we've said alone, without considering our connection...
Listen!
I never said it was an easy choice. It's one you gotta make.
Do you have a list of questions that may narrow things down?
I was thinking about some questions to ask. All right.
Some views.
You're going to like a work function, like a little.
Oh, we're
party.
going full like Google quiz.
Okay.
And a gay man hits on you.
Gay man hits on me. Okay.
what is your genuine reaction? I don't want no meme answer. I just want a genuine reaction.
I would blush, and I would say, well, thank you, but my door doesn't swing that way. I do appreciate the compliment, though.
I mean, we're gonna have to give me some benefit of the doubt. Genuinely, I wouldn't notice if he was hitting on me.
Yeah, that's fair.
What? Actually, that's a good point too, because I'm thick as a brick.
I mean,
I wouldn't notice either.
I'm presuming for the sake of argument, we are aware.
Yeah,
okay,
he is showing the obvious signs, like he's going like this.
He's rubbing me. Okay,
he's trying to get eye contact and everything.
Well,
like
I'm terrible with eye contact.
All right,
too.
I'm gonna be real.
I don't get eye contact because I hardly ever make eye contact. If looks could kill, I wouldn't see it coming.
He's trying, like
if looks would kill, then people would be half dead. But
like this man is obviously trying to get your attention and everything.
I would probably be way too awkward. I would basically try to abscond from the situation, because I'd be sitting there like mentally debating about it, like, was he really trying to hit on me? And then I'd be like, do you think I'm hot? But then also like I'm not into that. Yeah. So I don't know what to do, so I'd just be like, well, it was nice talking to you. Maybe buy him a drink and say, I gotta get back to my friends, though. So, you enjoy that drink, sir. And then I'd walk away and be like, I think someone just hit on me. If he continued after that, like, continuously sought me out, then I would probably be like, hey,
yeah,
I'm not gay. I'm not into that kind of thing. The one thing that would probably make me go, like, immediately tell him would be if he's, like, really trying to buy me a drink. I'd be like, don't spend your money, because it's not going to go anywhere.
I would take his drink. I just wouldn't do anything.
I would feel bad about that.
Listen. No offense to you, Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to go with Eric.
You're gonna have to go there? That's fair enough.
I feel Eric is more of a social animal than
this is true. I'm a little social goblin.
I feel like if a fucking gay man group approached Eric,
like the Blue Man Group but gay,
and like at a bar and like asked Eric to hang out, he would do it.
I would hang out. I just wouldn't pull something out.
Like fucking they like you could tell these men are gay while playing pool and be like, oh, we need an extra man. They'll point at Eric and Eric be like, on the way.
Gotcha.
Fair enough. Although in my defense, I feel like it's more of just a general social failing that I'd be like, people.
That's where I got it, because like the whole LGBTQ group is a very social thing.
This is true.
Do you have any other questions? Like maybe this could be a 2 out of 3 thing. Gotta shift around, get another angle.
We gotta look at it from all angles.
What if you had a kid and they came out as gay or bi or any of that?
I need you to clarify. Did you say kid or kitten?
Kid.
Okay, because I swear to God, Discord I heard, what if you had a kitten? And I'm like,
just goes, I'm gay.
So what if I had a kid and they were gay?
Yeah.
The way I imagine I would go about that, now granted, they say having a kid, like, changes you. Like, your perception of your child when you actually have one is something you can't account for before it's happened.
True.
But the way I'd always imagine going about that, like in my ideal world, is basically like, is this like a coming out thing where we're in the living room, they're like, hey Dad, I just wanted to say I'm gay.
I'll add these details. Like, yes, your 16-year-old child has sat you down in the living room and like they seem antsy and ready to tell you something, and they come out as gay, lesbian, whatever.
Yeah.
Any of them. Okay,
and it's just them. They don't have some like. It's not like they come out with their significant other and they're like, "Isn't
just
that
them."
Okay, then I'd probably, ideally, just be pretty casual about it. I'd probably nod and be like,
this house.
No, I'd probably not and just be like, oh, well, that's I'd probably be pretty genuine in that, like, I do appreciate that you actually felt like telling me that.
Yeah.
You know, because that's nice. It's nice if people actually trust you enough to tell you this stuff. I'd probably at one point, especially if they seemed nervous about it, be like, you do know that my brother is gay as shit, right?
I guess you have the advantage there.
Like, yeah, I'd have to... if they were actually, like, concerned about that, they probably wouldn't know that my brother is fucking gay. But, yeah, the big thing... ideally that I would do is be casual about it, because I don't want it to be some, like, massive thing.
Massive big deal.
I just want it... I would rather people feel like the way they are is normal rather than some extravagant outlier.
Oh. I like your answer, Eric.
I would probably handle it fairly similarly. I would be as casual as possible. It probably wouldn't really bother me. And if anything, if you know your kid as well as you would probably hope you would, there'd be signs. You'd see the writing on the walls. You'd know the smell of the game. And I wouldn't like bother them anything about it. I wouldn't pressure them to tell me. And if they told me, I'd say, I kind of knew for a while. I would at least hope that I would know. But I wouldn't really view them any differently. Still my kid. But that kind of entire realm is shrouded in just one big, what's a good word for it? Fallacy, because I can't see myself having kids.
I mean, yeah, we are kind of permitting a situation. That said, I'm not in the situation of, like, I can't see it. I can see it in that, were I to actually have a person I was dating, which is the one thing I can't see, I can kind of imagine myself having kids, but it is really just one of those things where it's like, in this theoretical universe, yeah, I can see it, but you know. Now here's the grand switch up. If they did do the thing where they came to me and they're like, this, you know, like my son comes, is like, this is my boyfriend, I'd look at him and be like, you drink, we're getting champagne.
You just had the champagne bottle stored away for this exact moment.
They're like, Dad, why do we just have this bottle of champagne? It's been here forever. And they're like 14 or something. And like, what's with the champagne bottle? I'm like, well, the champagne's for celebrations. Like, oh, I've never seen you open it for any celebration. It's for a very special one. It's like, oh, okay. And then after a while, they're like fucking like 20. They're like in their 20s or whatever, and they're talking to me, and it's like, so what were you waiting for with the champagne bottle? I'm like, oh, I was waiting to see if you were gay. They're like, I'm not gay. I'm like, fuck. Want champagne? Crack it out.
You both gave great answers, but my thing is, if I ever have a kid and that situation happens,
you beat him.
I'm gonna be the most sarcastic asshole about it. Like, they're gonna sit there across from me, and be like, Dad, I've really been meaning to tell you this. I'm gay, or I'm lesbian, or whatever. And I just. Oh shit!
that was a pog face.
Oh my god. We're both like, yeah, it's important that people feel normal and feel comfortable, and Tyler's out here like, damn, I was about to say a slow
Oh, or I'd be like really dramatic, like I'll stand up and like crash into the wall and be like, God damn it, my son's
you punch the wall.
My son's gay.
My bloodline ends with me.
Well,
no,
that's
I'd go for the theatrics like that, but then just go right into like what you guys said. you gotta make it funny.
It's about
You might have
inclusion.
soured the mood if you did that.
Obviously.
Yeah, you gotta hope that he didn't run away.
You have
like,
to hope that they have as
if-
good a sense of humor as you do.
I would say if my kid grew up with me,
They're gonna have that humor.
They gotta know that sense of humor.
Well, this has been a very good exploration.
Wait,
of
who wins?
Who wins?
Who is
Find
that
out
guy?
next episode.
No, we need to know now.
No. Next episode, damn it.
Okay, well, it's been a grand exploration. Tune in next time to probably not hear the answer because we'll forget.
Most
But
likely.